Okay, let's talk about group 15 words. So, starting with alienate, that means to treat somebody like an alien, to make them feel different, to make them feel separate. So, if you alienate somebody, you kind of push them to the side, right? Apathy is going to mean you don't care, indifference, we're all going to die one day, so who cares? Apropos, I like to say that. Apropos means relevant or suitable. So, if something is apropos, it's on topic. Apt has like 50 different definitions. One meaning would be suitable, very similar to apropos. It can also mean like having a tendency to do something. You are apt to commit a crime or something. It can also mean quick to learn. So if you're an apt learner, you learn quickly. Cloak means to cover or hide. Think about Harry Potter, the cloak, the invisibility cloak. Consensus means an agreement. We can reach a consensus, have an agreement. To distort something means to give a misleading or misrepresentative representation. So, for example, you can distort the truth. Divergent is not a teen adult novel series. It means two things go separate directions. Two things diverge, they go on different paths. Elated means very happy. Maybe you're elated with your GRE score. I don't know. Enchant means to kind of charm somebody, to give somebody a very favorable impression. They feel enchanted or they feel like really attracted. Entrenched means ingrained, very hard to remove. Some of our bad habits are very entrenched. Exotic has a couple different definitions. It can mean just like different and interesting. It can also just mean different, like it's from an exotic land. Exploitative means to take advantage of people or, some things. If it's an exploitative, job, you're not being paid fairly, they're taking advantage of you. Foreseeable, of course, means, able to be predicted. The problem was foreseeable, for example. And then to forsake means to give something up. Maybe you forsake, alcohol or cigarettes or something. Okay, let's go ahead and scroll down. So we're going to do 16 through 30. Gratify means to make somebody feel pleased or happy. Heed means to follow or listen to. I'm sure you've heard the phrase heed advice. You need to heed this advice. Judicious means wise or smart or clever. Basically, it just means making good decisions. It's a judicious finding, for example. It's a good, wise decision. Lucid means clear, very similar to the word pellucid. It can also mean like lucid speech. It's very easy to listen to, very intelligible. Pertinent means on topic, relevant. We have a lot of words that mean that: apt, apropos. Propriety means manners, having decorum, following the rules, chewing with your mouth closed, all of that stuff. Scintillating means very brilliant or interesting or flashy. If it's scintillating conversation, you just cannot leave the conversation. It's so exciting, it's so good. Sensational in normal speech means like amazing. Oh, it's a sensational movie. The GRE doesn't really use it that way. They use it in the sense of like a newspaper, sensational reporting, which means kind of dishonest, exaggerating. Sometimes that was very popular, like in the early 19th or 20th century, maybe even popular nowadays. Sophisticated has a couple of definitions. It can mean like complex, like it's a very sophisticated computer. It can also mean urbane or cultured or civilized, a sophisticated person. Strife means conflict, typically describing, strife between countries, for example. Understated means not obvious, kind of under the table a little bit, indirect, subtle, discreet. Unscrupulous means not having any morals, because of course, if you're a scrupulous person, you're a careful, moral person. So unscrupulous is the opposite. You don't have any morals. Veracity means the truth or honesty. Veracity is very important. Sensational news reporting doesn't have a lot of veracity. Virulent can mean harmful or damaging if we're talking about a disease or a virus. But if we're talking about speech, it just means very hostile and very bitter, very negative, very cynical speech. And then finally, volatile means difficult to predict. It could go in a million different directions. It's not stable. It's something that has no pattern to it.